Which president are we talking about?
I mean, now, of course, I was very frightened because when I went to our embassy in Bonn, there had been Ambassador Barije, who had defected, and two other senior officers. Why? Because Ambassador Barije's brother had been killed. So he feared for his own life and had left. So being recalled from an embassy like that one, you feel, what have I done?
First female representative to the Vatican.
Of course, the Vatican, that was unusual because they had not had a woman ambassador in 900 years. So,
wow. It was a shock from the Vatican, but she was ready to take the stage, to serve her country, represent it, and proudly so.
Mr. Batte, I'm very happy to see you. I'm honored that you could come to my home to have a conversation with me about my life, which was really triggered by the book that I've just published.
Today, we have the opportunity to be welcomed in the home of Ambassador Bernadette Olowo-Freers, a seasoned ambassador, one who became an ambassador at the age of 27 on appointment by then President Idi Amin Dada. She takes us into what made her the little girl that paid her own school fees, the little girl that made the firsts. She was brilliant at school, playful, but when she returned home, her father was always happy that even if she was playful, she was the smart one. Today, she gives us the highlights of her life, the turning points, and the lessons for the young people, especially packaged in this beautiful book that you should get a copy of at the nearest bookstore. It's available at the Book Point. Take some time, turn these pages and learn a thing or two.
My name is Bernadette Olowo-Freers. Shall I say I'm 87 years old?
Yes.
A very retired but not tired. Sometimes we call ourselves retired because we have developed ourselves into given ourselves new life, new activities, which makes us tick, especially people in my group and my age. You know, I have a feeling in my body that I'm still the young girl of 27 because when I'm around big people, I behave as a young person. But I have now friends who are grown up, who are even in the 90s, but I'm catching up with them because I'm already 78.
Your book is a memoir.
It's a memoir about my life.
About your life, and interestingly is the title of the book. What was the inspiration for that title?
Many people, when I introduce myself, Bernadette Olowo-Freers, then they say ambassador, because I've worked as ambassador, or I've worked in foreign affairs, the level of ambassador, and that title normally we keep. But I normally try not to introduce myself as Ambassador Bernadette Olowo-Freers, but Bernadette Olowo-Freers, retired ambassador. And what inspired me to write my book and also to introduce myself as ambassador, because I feel that is the epic of my life. I didn't actually rise to the rank of ambassador. I kangarooed from grade 6 to grade 1 within 2 years to become ambassador. But I did my best. I think there's nobody who can say I didn't do anything better than my colleagues who had risen through the ranks. And not because of just by myself, but by the support I got from my colleagues, from my workplace, and from where I served.
Where did it all start for you?
You know, I feel that I'm someone special because I paid my own school fees in P1.
How?
In my family, my father was an ex-seminarian, but being an only child, his parents couldn't allow him to become a father, so he had to pull out, and then was assisted by his rector to join the police, and he worked as, but joined the police and then joined the army. So he joined the World War, the King's Rifle, World War. So when my brothers started school, I was carrying my sister on my back, 6 years old. And I kept on asking my mother, I want to go to school. Then she says, wait for your father to pay your fees. Because my father was then apparently in Egypt, in Missouri, where they were mopping up Second World War operations. But in my part of the world, boys engage in all sorts of activities, including beating music, coaxing out white ants from the ground. So they had gone to, from near, and these normally come on ant hills. So we went to the near, not far from home. They beat their music to coax out mbala specifically from the ground, and I was carrying my sis on my back. The grass had been burnt, so I was standing on a grass, stump of grass. And of course, my sister was a bit heavy. So when I was shifting, fidgeting with my feet, then I realized that there's something in under my feet. When I looked down, it was money, silver money. So I scooped handful, then shouted, I found money. Then I ran to my mother and I said, please go pay my fees. So I feel that's something special that I could share with the people. And from there, I went to school, P1 exams, I excelled, even beat boys. You know, in our place we also have who is who, the boys of known people, rich people around. So they just said, wow, that girl excelled and even defeated those boys. And actually, to me, that was the beginning of knowing that I could do better. I could do everything that I want to do. Because I want to go to school, I give myself the chance to go to school. And that's how it all started. But to cut the long story short, when I was going to school, I was also dreaming of, all sorts of jobs and working outside. When my father came back from Egypt, he joined the civil service, and he was an interpreter of the DC. Yeah, and from time to time, he would bring magazines. So you look at them, you see nice things, and I say, I wish I could grow up and even go abroad. So I think that's where it all started. So when I finished Makerere, I went to school through Trinity College in Abingo. Primary school was Budaka in the east. I speak Lugere fluently. Then Trinity College in Abingo, I speak Luganda fluently. Then I joined Makerere because those rules didn't include me, since it was not my my mother tongue. I just spoke them, and if they caught me, I said, that's not my language. Anyway, then I went to Makerere. I did economics. And why did I do economics? Because I didn't want to teach. In our time, when you are at the university, you took a teaching language, you will be forced to take a diploma in education. I was doing geography, English, and economics. So I chose to do economics because it was not then a teaching language, and agricultural economy. When I qualified, in fact, when I was still at Makerere, I used to do a side job in the Ministry of Information. I was reading news summaries and announcements. At that time on TV, you find young girls doing announcements and reading summaries. I did that. So that enticed me to go to the Ministry of Education, of Information. As soon as I finished, I applied, I was taken. But I had also applied to UDC and to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I was taken, but then I was invited to go to UDC. I discussed with my director and said, it's okay, it's a better pay there and everything. So when I joined, I think I had been there 2 months, looking at my check. But then I also I got this invitation to go to Foreign Affairs. Again, I went to my executive director, who was then called Semei Nyanzi. And I talked with him and he said, don't worry. I said, I want to go only for 2 years. And then I'll come back. I want to see the world a bit. I'll come back. So he said, you go. When you come back, your place will be here. I went. So in 1973, I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with a group of 13 other boys. We were 14. My cohort was 14. And we did our 6 months of diplomatic training in the IPA, it was Institute of Public Administration, which is UMI now. So after our training, we all were posted out. And I was posted to Germany, West Germany, November of 73. I reported beginning of 1974, and I really liked my job. I liked the people I found there. I liked the colleagues from the other embassies who were economic attaches. I was then third secretary in the language of civil service. I was third secretary. But in October of 74, after I worked for those 10 months, I was recalled home. I was not invited, I was summoned to come home on consultation. I said, wow. Now, of course, I was very frightened because when I went to our embassy in Bonn, there had been Ambassador Barige, who had defected, and 2 other senior officers. Why? Because Ambassador Barige's brother had been killed. So he feared for his own life and had left. So being recalled from an embassy like that one, you feel, wow, what have I done? But anyway, I think it didn't occur to me to defect. So when I arrived home, I was told, the president wants to see you. It is the president who wants to see you. I said, okay. So we were there for 2 days, didn't eat much, went to his office, accompanied by the permanent secretary then, who was Mr. John Intimba, found there Mr. Jonathan Ekochu, his principal private secretary, and we were ushered to a room where we had to wait for him. When he came in, he was jovial, he was in good mood. Asked me my names, asked me my qualifications, asked me my experience, because I had just finished my career, no experience in what I was doing. I mean, very little experience in diplomatic service. Young, 27. Then she said, okay, now, completely, and also I'm appointing you ambassador to West Germany. So I said, yeah. You know, you freeze, you sweat, yeah. And when I looked at my senior colleagues, they were also frightened. I saw fright in their eyes. Said,
was it because of your age that you felt it was too much?
No, it was, yes, my age. I had not worked in foreign affairs for long, and I had no experience. So I think they were saying, now this woman is going to answer that wrongly. So I said, Mr. President, you know that I'm young. You know that I don't have experience. But if you want to appoint me, if you appoint me ambassador to West Germany, I accept, and I'll do my best.
Which president are we talking about?
Amin, President Idi Amin. That is how it all happened. I became ambassador. And from that day onwards, the news was Ambassador Miss Bernadette Olowo has been appointed ambassador to West Germany. And as we are talking about appointment to West Germany, he was reminded that our embassy to West Germany, sitting in Bonn, also looks after our affairs in the Vatican, in Austria, and the Netherlands. Because our ambassador to Paris is the one who looks after our affairs to the Italian government. Those two are separate. So on that day, I became ambassador to West Germany, the first woman to the Vatican, to Austria, and to the Netherlands. Now, as you can see, this is not usual. I mean, it is not, that's not the way ambassadors are appointed. Normally, when a country wants to post an ambassador, they write to say, we are we are thinking of appointing ambassador to your country. These are her credentials. We hope you can accept. No, this was not done. It was just announced. So now they had to work backwards to try and write to the German government to appoint me, and to the Vatican. Of course, the Vatican, that was unusual because they had not had a woman ambassador in 900 years. So,
wow.
when President Amin said I was going to become ambassador, he also told the permanent secretary then to say, can you make sure that you give her a car and a protocol officer so that she goes around Uganda and gets to know every part of Uganda which she's going to represent. And took a month. We went everywhere, Kisoro, West Nile, Arua, wherever. So I know Uganda quite well. I think that was this is a long answer to your short question.
What is interesting is that you talk about West German, and I know that the love of your life comes from Germany. Is that where you met?
No, we met here in Uganda.
Sure.
After I had been here for almost in my retirement. I mean, after I had been back for almost 5 or 6 years working at headquarters. I worked as ambassador to West Germany from 75 to 79. I came back when the Liberation War had ended. And I was heading the Western Europe desk, department. I worked in Western Europe, Americas, and then they changed that to cultural. So, but I met my husband when I was, of course I had contacts in West German embassy. I mean, wherever there was celebrations, I would be invited as the head of Department of Western Europe. And that's where I met my husband. In fact, we were just having a drink, then introduced himself, I introduced myself, and then someone came, hey, you two are bachelors, why don't you get together? Now you're saying bye-bye to each other and yet, and so he's a bachelor. So we started talking, and that's how we met.
Oh, you started talking. What then leads you to accept him in your heart?
Because he was a bachelor at, how old was he then? He's a very handsome man, by the way, and very entertaining and enchanting. So I really feel that it was a blessing to have met Jürgen and for him to have come to my life as my husband. Because, you know, when you are 27, you are appointed ambassador. My closest friend in the diplomatic corps was a 60-year-old Belgian ambassador who kept on saying at every time we met, we are the only two bachelors in the diplomatic corps, you know, because everybody else was older than me. And therefore, my life had to change between being a 27-year-old junior officer at an embassy where you enjoy yourself, to an ambassador who had to be a lot more careful, doing things of what 40-year-olds are doing, you know. So to meet someone who is young, who is talkative, I said, oh, this is very good. So we really just started talking and meeting and going out. And I feel that Jürgen made me live the youth I had missed. The youth years I had missed, because then, you know, we started going out, would go out for weekend, would go to the park, would go, you know, those are the kind of things you do when you're young, which I had completely missed.
Taking you back a little bit, how does the 27-year-old find their ropes around in the diplomatic circle?
I've been reflecting on that, and I just feel that our education here in the country grounds you. By the time you go through and you're at Makerere and you qualify, you are really grounded. You know, you have studied all these geographies of the world, whatever. And then the training you also get also gives you the latitude, brings you at a level where you can work with everybody. After all, if at that level, if I've been made a protocol officer, I would know what to do. So you sort of relieve the training you've got and the practices that you are expected in the diplomatic corps.
When you look back at your journey, what would you point out as the key and turning points, highlights for you?
Mr. Batte, I think the turning point is when I'm called into the presence of President Amin and I'm being told I've been appointed ambassador. That actually sort of levels everything. It's like you're starting a new life. That it's not even a turning point, it is a starting point. Yeah? You start living a life that a foreign service officer, a career foreign service officer dreams to reach. Because we all start with being foreign service officers grade 6, 1, 2, 3, and grade 1 is ambassador level. And that's what you all want. But mine was from being a foreign service officer grade 6, I become a grade 1 or a junior foreign service third secretary to ambassador. So it means that within that time, I sort of have to try and see if I were here, how would I do it? If I were here, so I started living there, trying to bring all this to this level.
Why do you think he appointed you?
Actually, up to today, I'm still trying to find out what could have happened because I don't know. I don't know. One can guess that as we're there in the embassy, you know, there are many people, or there are few people who had direct communication with President Amin. And like any government, I think there was a bit of insecurity, so that you had to look at everybody the way they come. So there must have been someone who saw me, who saw how I behaved, and said, well, in this place here, there's no ambassador, and yet this little girl is, what would you call it, is behaving, is grown up, is doing the kind of things that anybody would do, without thinking that there are stages that one needs to go through. Whatever it happened, that whoever gave the president a report that I could become ambassador was just thinking of the kind of things that needed to happen at the embassy, and perhaps were not happening, and were all voicing them to happen. Like to say, you know, people, our country has a very bad reputation. So we, as we are, we should behave differently. We shouldn't give anybody any reason to say, wow, look at those young foreign service officers. They are misbehaving.
What did it mean for you being representing Uganda at a time when its image on the international scene was tainted? In life or in whatever you do, you pick up something which you can hold on to. To me, I was given that opportunity, and I said, I'm not representing Amin, I'm representing Uganda. So how best can I portray Uganda where I'm working? In fact, when people called me, you are Amin's ambassador, I said, no, I'm an ambassador of Uganda to West Germany. I'm not Amin's ambassador. Much as I represent him as my boss, but he doesn't appoint me here to represent him as the president. I represent him to portray our country. Okay, and then you definitely went to different stations like you detailed in your book. Which other key highlights made you proud of the journey that you walked as an ambassador?
But let me just take a step back about the kind of things that I felt representing Uganda. One day I was meeting the Minister of Economic Cooperation, the German Minister of Economic Cooperation, who pointed this to me to say, you know, Madam Ambassador, we really cannot work with you like we work with any other country because of the kind of things that your president utters every day. And I said, you know what? I'm here representing the people of Uganda. Is there something that you can do to the people of Uganda other than to the government? He said, but what? I said, you know what? At the moment, you are giving us scholarships. You give countries scholarships. And those scholarships go to the ordinary citizens, sons of ordinary citizens. Why don't you just give us more of those scholarships? Because tomorrow, those are the people who might make our country better. And at that time, we were just getting seven scholarships, and most of it was from Deutsche Welle to UTV. For you remember, of course you can't remember. At that time there was the football, the what. So he said, okay, what is it that you want? I said, you know what? If you gave us like 50 scholarships, where you can say 10 students came to do engineering, 10 came to do medicine, 10 came to do agriculture, came to do, you know, specialize in those things so that they can take these skills back to better our country. Because this situation is going to change and we'll need all those skills. I said, okay, you have it. So I got 50 scholarships on that day for Uganda. And I had met the Minister of Education, Mr. Jumba Masagazi, and we had been lamenting, you know, what is happening. So I just ran out and went and rang him, and I said, Mr. Minister, I've got 50 scholarships for students, and I'm being challenged whether we can meet the quota. He said, leave it to me. And from there, we had 50 people going to Germany every academic year. I don't know when it ended or whether it has ended or not. So to me, that was a fulfillment of my duty to Germany. Because normally it is the relationship and it is what you can get from each other. And to me, that was it. The other thing that I was trying to do was trying to talk about our imports or exports to Germany. We were trying to export pineapples, you know, to Edgar, you know, the supermarket. But I don't know where that went, because at that time our pineapples were too big. They needed less than 2 kilos. Anything beyond that was too big for the market, because German families are small. If they took our average pineapple of 4 kilos, it was a waste. So we are now trying to groom the farmers to make sure that we do 2 kilos of pineapples to be exported. And I got in touch with a few people who were starting to do that. So, you know, those are the kind of things that an ambassador finds fulfillment in. That I've done my duty, this is one thing I've done, or 2 things. And to me, that was very important.
And today, it's a Tuesday, yes, and you're at home. Mm. How are you enjoying your retirement?
It's by good luck that is a Tuesday and I'm at home, because I'm not normal at home. But actually, it is Tuesday. Tuesday is the only day, Tuesday and Thursday, are days which I feel I'm at home, because when I retired, well, anyway, I retired from government after working for 20 years. That was 1993. I retired from government. And by good luck, I got a job with the UN. So, and I worked with the UNAIDS for 13 years. So I retired in 2010, actually December of 2009. The 2010 found, the first of 2010 found me home, because I had to leave my station before the first. And in the UN, before you retire, 2 years before you retire, they take you through processes of what you could do or you need to do and don't do when you retire. So like they will tell you, don't start new ventures with your retirement benefits because you may reach in the middle and it is not enough and it is gone. Don't marry new wives or new husbands. No, they take you through the do's and don'ts, and that is very, very helpful. When I retired, I said, okay, what shall I do with myself? I said, okay, for the first few months, I want to sleep beyond 6 o'clock. Yeah, I want to sleep until 8 because for the first time, so that I can really enjoy my sleep. For 35 years, I've been waking up at 6 and I'm tired. Let me enjoy my sleep. Then, but friends already knew, those who knew me, because I was always in touch with the people at home. So someone comes and said, Bernadette, in fact, Margaret Mongerera, Dr. Margaret Mongerera, God rest her soul, comes and says, Bernadette, come and join Rotary. And I'm going to take you through to show you what it is all about. So she comes and we go to, takes me through several Rotary clubs. But on the understanding that I will join her club, Rotary Club of Kampala West. So eventually, 2011, I joined the Rotary Club of Kampala West. And you know, Rotary is almost a full-time job because we meet every Wednesday, 1 to 2. But in there, there are things that you do to the community, what we call projects. You choose a project area and then you do it. And I found it very interesting. So I said, okay. So I launched myself on it. And before long, I was able even to take water to my small village in Merikit, take water to a health center and to two health centers and to 3 schools, bore holes and running water, tapped water. And there we continue to work all over. I mean, that is almost a full-time job. Another one, I got in touch, I happened to be in a meeting, and I'm in a meeting of old girls of Trinity College in Abingo. There's an old teacher who says, you know, we need to give back to the community. I've gone around and asked the Archbishop, there's a school where we can open up a technical school in Nadangira. So I get into that, and for me, I don't do things halfway. I put my whole energy in it. I even start chairing it, and we set up a school. We expand the buildings that were there. We expanded them. We put a new kitchen and dormitories, so that we can give to the community in Nadangira some technical skills. We did bricklaying, catering, sewing, all those little skills, and electricals. So, but there also now I've retired because I chaired it and left it at that. What else? So, I mean, in my book, you'll see a few things which I entered in doing, and they're really full-time jobs. For example, and then of course we set up Association of Uganda retired foreign service officers, which is also, it is almost a full-time job because we had to develop our constitution, and in that meantime I was chairing it. So we meet every first Monday of the month at Katikati, and you know, so here's my Mondays is gone, my Wednesday is gone, my Thursday, what do I normally do? And I do other things, but I am fully occupied.
It's very clear you have a house, but a home in it, with the love for nature everywhere, the greenery, well-tended plants, and the birds are chirping. Tell us a little bit about setting up the home that speaks to you, that calms you.
I was living in Bugolowe, in a house which I got from government, and eventually they sold that to sitting tenants. But one day I was accompanying a colleague, Ambassador Mailuk. She was sick and she felt that she wanted something for her children. So I was going with her, looking at different properties. And she eventually settled for a house in Makindye. And then we had seen this place. It was just bare land. There was bush. There was not, the last house were those ones. So I took interest and I said, okay, I have a little saving. Why don't I, if I bought this piece of land, I could put there, I was thinking of sanitary pads and toilet paper, because at that time it was in short supply. They were in short supply.
Which years are we talking about?
80 and 83. So when I saw this piece of land, I bought it. So I would but then I realized when I tried to look at machines, I realized that I didn't have enough money. There was not enough money to build and to put the machinery. But we came here with my husband in the evening, and you know, you saw it was a very nice area, very nice. It had a very nice site downtown Kampala. You could see everything. So between 87 and 89, I had all the time in my hand. So we started to think, but why don't we build here a home with my husband? So this area up to there, it was I think an acre. We chopped it off this and developed this one into a home. And we were doing it almost every day we were here, because we wanted it a home that we would live in. And we moved in here in 89. This thing was bare, so all those trees we started putting, wherever we say, okay, let's put this one here, let's put here. That's Japanese cherries, they have nice flowers. That palm there is from Mombasa. I carried it in my handbag. Whatever is here, we put physically, because that's how we wanted it.
And then what inspires your love for nature?
But everybody loves nature.
Sure.
Everybody loves nature. I mean, you are here, there's fresh air, I don't know who does not love nature.
Does it say anything about where you were raised and brought up from?
But actually, if you came home to in my village, my compound is almost like this.
That is in Tororo?
In Tororo, in Amurwo. It's also green, it's open, and everybody has their little compound. Everybody looks after their little compound. I also look after mine.
Is it something that you picked from your mother?
I don't know. You know, sometimes things you just grow into you, and also I think where you are, when if you like the places you walk in, you find people have gardens, you love them, and you say, oh, if I had a house, I would make my garden like that. Yeah, I think there's also the exposure to other areas. But I think many people in Uganda now really love nature. You go to any home and you find that they are very happy about their surroundings, they have trees. There are very few people who cut trees down when they go to start building. They may cut them, but they may feel, okay, let's cut them and then make a new. Many homes are really nicely done with the trees around. People ask me, why have you written your book? I feel to have a story to tell, like what I've told you. How many people have found money and put in education? How many people have been given the opportunity to be ambassadors and have done their best and come out with the dignity? I just felt I have a story to tell. But first and foremost, I think I wrote this book for young people. That you can have an ambition. Once you have an ambition, you look at it, you work at it, you get it. For young people, I think let young people read my book and see if they can find something that they can pick and say, okay, if this woman or this girl did this and succeeded, because my background is really humble, and was able to succeed and come to this level, what can I do to do that? And that is hard work and integrity, not telling lies, not trying to cut corners. Just work hard at what you want and you'll get it. And to the parents, give your children direction. My parents loved me. My parents gave me the opportunity, supported me at every level. my father was my friend. When I come back with my report, we sit, we look at it, and normally in primary school they would say, "Azanya nyo," and for him he would read my report to my mother. So my mother would then start scolding me. Why are you playing? Yeah? But then my father would just wink and say, I don't think these people are correct. But if you are playing, how come you got this result? Your report is good. So perhaps you could do better. And my mother, once she knew I wanted education, she did everything. She would even, when there was a time when my father, I don't say retired, I don't say expelled, but anyway, they were retired from their work because they were DP young boys, and at that time it was UPC government. So for 2 years we didn't. It was a very, very hard time to have education. My mother would even go with me to her people in where they are to say, "We are short of money. Can you people help?" My relationship with my father was stemmed on the fact that I was doing well, and every stage of my life was giving him a lot of pride. Like from P1, you do P1 and you do well, and you've beaten all the sons of his friends. That was already the pride that he enjoyed. And then going to boarding schools, doing well at every stage, that was a pride. And even when he had no money to pay my fees, he was willing to sell his cows. And people were laughing at him and said, you're selling cows to pay for a girl's education? I think you're going to regret it. But because of his trust in me, he sat me down and said, "My daughter, you know what? You know what I'm doing, and you know how people are talking. So please don't shame me. And you know, for me, as you know, I'm very emotional. If you ashamed me, I'll just kill you." And then my mother was also there and said, "I'll kill you and I kill myself." And my mother would say, "And I will also kill myself." So I went through life knowing that I had to do the right things, not to cause death of my father or my mother. And that also gave me the pride and the courage to work hard. When I was at school, secondary school, my father would write to me letters telling me giving me the information of what is happening at home. And I would write back. And when I came back, we would sit and talk. And like even with my grandfather, I liked that very much. When I came back from school, my grandfather liked tobacco. I made sure I went and bought the best tobacco I could get, give it to him, and the pride that you saw him enjoying his tobacco, and would sit there. He would bring his, what you would call, you would say the best wine, but his mwenge, and we would sit and drink together and we talk. My relations with my family was really that. My mother was always making sure that I do the right thing. So although we would sit and talk, but she was always a bit of a disciplinarian, but we loved each other. We did everything together. Like even when I was at secondary school, I would go for water, I would do that. But I realized that that was not enough. So when at school, I would save my pocket money. Make sure when I go home, I make a man bring firewood, a log of firewood, and that would provide firewood. I made sure someone dug my portion of the garden. So I'm not going to the garden, but let that man dig my portion. But in this meantime, I would be home, sweep the house, cook lunch. By the time they come back, lunch is ready. I would have played my part. So my relationship with my parents were grounded at home. And just like I could say I'm a child of the community. In the community, I loved people, they loved me. You know, even today, people still call me by my maiden name. "Oh, that's Athieno. Oh, she's around." Or, you know.
What did you say Athieno means?
I was born in the evening. Yes. No, I think my life has been really full. And because I love people around me, and they love me. They loved me. I loved my parents. I loved my grandparents. And to me, that is very important. That the parents, we give all the support that we can to our children. You know, these days we just say, the children of these days. But who are the children of these days? They are our children. So why don't we give them the direction? I know I don't have all the this, but you know what I do? Sometimes even if I do something, I tell my kids, please, can you help me? I pretend that I don't know, so that they can spend time with me and also give me the direction. Yeah? So that we can have a conversation. And I think most of the children whom we say, children of these days, we've given them these gadgets, and it is something that is interesting to them, but we've lost the contact with them. And I think that is very, very important. You know, for me, by God's grace, all my kids are here. I have 2 kids. They didn't stay abroad. They all studied abroad, but they didn't stay there. They came back. And we are in touch every day, every day, every day. If someone is in trouble, they tell you immediately. If you're in trouble, they know. If I'm sick, they know. I have my 2 grandchildren already. They know. Adada doesn't like this. When you go to Adada's place, your phones are off. You're going there to converse with Adada or to play games around her compound. So please don't spend time on your phone. It is a way to give our children direction. And you know, we just lament the children of these days. Things are tough. Life is tough. But I think we also should take some responsibility.
Which are those places in Uganda that left a spell on you, or leave a spell on you?
You know, Uganda is beautiful. And every part that you reach has its own little beauty. Because the hot springs in Uganda, that would sell like hot cake if we developed that area. The Karamoja, you know, the savannas of the Karamoja, where you have these rare species of giraffes and all that. That's a beautiful part of Uganda. Uganda is beautiful, and each corner has its own unique beauty, which if we really exploited properly would be, well, they say the pearl of Africa, but we've not developed it to that level. That I love.
Invite people to Tororo.
When you come to Tororo, when you come to my home, it is a beautiful home. We will sit under the tree and enjoy the breeze like you're enjoying now. I would cook you my favorite sauce, which is like a kale. This time it is not even gobe, but jovio in milk, like my grandmother taught me to do. And we would eat it with kuon or atapa. And you'd enjoy just the scenery, the nature. It's almost like this, except now we have too many children. It's noisy. Talking about jovio, my grandmother had green vegetables at the back of her house all year round, from January to January. And many women would come to ask for some vegetables. Of course, she would tell them off and said, but you, what kind of women are you who do not have these greens behind your kitchens? Every woman should have this. And she cooked them in a special way. My mother cooked them differently. My grandmother's jovio, you don't cook that day and eat that day. What you cook today, you let it settle. Tomorrow you put in milk. The next day, you eat it on the 3rd day when it has sort of almost become like cheesy. And my father loved that. And I loved to cook it that way. So when I retired and I was in Bugolobi, my father, we used to joke. He would come for holidays to my place and would say, I want to come and eat those greens like my mother used to cook, because you cook them the way my mother used to cook. And I loved that. So I always looked forward. When he comes in April, he will have weeded his millet, everything is clean, just waiting for harvest, gets a rest, comes over here, visits me, in the process visits his aunt, my grandmother in Luzira, Maria Mudama, who even a road is named after. She's she's the first person I think who used to supply Uganda breweries with the waragi. And my father was her favorite. When he went there, I mean, they would bring out what they call mandle of waragi. And when we go to her afterwards, she'd, Benatu Savananga, Vanava Benatu Navawach. So those are the kind of things that I used to love. Mm. My mother cooked her greens differently because her father was a skin and hides person. So she really didn't eat much greens in her home because there was always meat. So when she came to my home and she started cooking her vegetables, she cooked it the way she thought she would cook it. She didn't try even to imitate her mother-in-law, because for her, that woman cooks it differently, me, I'll cook it differently. But as soon as my father arrives home and you're going to serve him food, says, you go to your grandmother and bring sauce for your father. Because she knew that my father loved that. And she would send you to go and bring sauce from my grandmother for him to eat her food, besides her own vegetables. But normally it was meat, because afterwards my father also worked as a market master in Tororo. So each time you slaughter a cow, there are 2 kilos for the market master. So there was always meat. So my mother cooked her meat. My grandmother cooked her vegetables besides her meat, and even her meat she mixed it with millet, with milk. Yeah, when I talk about my youth, I miss it. Thank you. And
yes, here we are sharing a meal with the ambassador. We've just taken a tour in the house, and a beautiful picture collage that details the different points and highlights of her career in the Vatican, at Mary Stuart Hall in Makerere.
This is a new one with the cover of the book. Okay. These are my parents. Spouse. Okay. But they are also in the book. This is when I presented credentials with the Pope Paul VI. This is when I think Pope Paul VI was meeting my Archbishop, James Odongo. That was one of the occasions when I called on Pope John Paul II, and that is, of course, Cardinal Subuga, and John Paul I, whom I never met because he died only after 30 days. These are pictures which should be hanging somewhere, but I felt putting them here makes it easier. As you can see, those are me. That's my friend's nephew, a friend of mine. This is my brother who follows me. These are my friends, my best friend, Mary Justin Odoy. So my nieces, my nephew. Most of these actually are my nieces and nephews. These are my kids. This is my son and my daughter. This is my son on his wedding day. This is my friend Noreen Caleb and her mother, who turned 100 years last Friday. That's me at my daughter's graduation. This is my daughter, my nephew, and at his wedding day, Charles Owino. That's my niece at her wedding day, Angela. This is Charles and his co-Angela. This is me, and my sister and my mother. She's the only sibling who is still alive.
And then the old school Sony music system. And they just served me a cup of authentic Ugandan tea, which I'm going to enjoy.
My parting word is prayer. Is prayer that God continues to give us peace in our country, and we all work towards peace Because I think everybody in their own corners are working for the development of this country. And therefore, if that is what we are all working at, why we should find a level where we can all work together and make peace and make everybody enjoy their country. Most of our fears right now is that we pray that peace reigns in our country, whatever happens. That's my prayer right now, because I don't want to, to miss all this again. That someone, because when young people or people who are angry, they will come and they will knock at that gate, not knowing who you are. They will say, these are the rich people who have been denying us things. Whereas, I mean, my country, I work for the community where I live, but I'm not in government. I have nothing to say. I vote. That's all I do as a citizen. I vote, but I have no place where I can voice my thing. But within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for example, or the Foreign Service Officers Association, we try to give our views on things.